Goals is one of these topics that used to fill bookstores when bookstores were around, right? The thousands of books about goals, and it's always so big picture that it's really hard to grasp. But it's really important that you take stock again of those goals because, look, at the end of the day, a business is nothing more than the vehicle you're using to get you to those goals. So get clarity on that, right? And we encourage people to break your goals down into four different buckets. And people will want these buckets filled in varying amounts, right? Income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity are the buckets we talk about. We're very acronym heavy, so we refer to it as ILWE, but income is obvious, right? It's the earnings, whether that's through employment, whether that's through business, what would you, it could be through investments. Lifestyle is oftentimes overlooked, but what are your lifestyle goals, right? And be honest about it. Hey, if you want to only work Monday through Friday, then you only want to work Monday through Friday. Your goals have to matter to you. Don't buy into all the belief that, entrepreneurship has to be 120 hours a week and you got to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and take an ice bath. That's out there if you want it, but what's important to you? The other things, wealth and equity, these are a little bit longer term. Wealth is loosely defined as your net worth, right? And sometimes that's the big goal for people. They're trying to retire and they've got a number, they've got a target off in the distance and they need to build that. Sometimes you're in good shape there. Maybe that's not one of the buckets that you need filled. Equity is a component of wealth, right? Equity is the assets that you've accumulated. It's it's your house. Sometimes if your net worth goal is very large, you might need equitable assets to close that gap. And maybe that's the purpose of a business for you is to build an equitable asset so at some point down the road you can have an exit event and fund your retirement. But there are some questions that you can ask yourself, and this really it is about what you want and what you want your life to look like. Because I will tell you, um, with the right systems in place and the right support, business ownership can support your life, not take it over. And I will tell you that when your career supports your calling and supports your vision and values, that's when everything changes. So get real honest. What are your income goals? Again, realistically, your 3 and 5 year goals are probably going to end up looking very different than your 1 year goals. Understand what your goals are, understand what your needs are. That's going to really come into play in year one. But this is also a time to be unrealistic. If your goals aren't big enough to scare you a little bit, hey, your goals are not big enough, right? So setting income goals is the first step, and there's a lot of studies that have been done that say that's really the key step to actually achieving the goals. And again, the lifestyle component is really important because you might be running after money, but if the business that you have doesn't support the life that you want, you'll burn yourself out. So those two things do work in conjunction with each other. And then the wealth and equity goals, right? These are the things that are going to allow you to make the life choices down the road and the freedom to do what makes you happy when you want. The other the other important point of this is when you have clarity on these goals, this becomes a way to evaluate businesses as those potential vehicles. Otherwise, everything is subjective, right? And you can fall down that hole of chasing passions. But if you have specific targets around things like income and lifestyle and wealth and equity, then you can use those as yardsticks measuring how a business can help you achieve those things. And if it can, then it becomes a good option for you. If a business cannot get you to your goals, it may not be a good option no matter how much you love the business.